And it tis the season to start worrying about getting sick. So first, the bad news. Germs spread much more quickly and thoroughly in an office environment than most people realize. But there is some good news. Just because you're exposed doesn't mean you'll get sick. Here with some good-to-know facts about pathogens is WSJ health reporter Sumathi Reddy. Sumathi, thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
So it seems like we cannot avoid exposing ourselves to these pathogens during this season. There are some scary studies out there showing they spread so quickly in an office.
They're everywhere you look. So yeah, a really interesting study tracing how quickly a virus moves through a building found that just one person infected with the virus or one doorknob within 4 hours saturated the workplace. It was 40 to 60% of the surfaces and 40 to 60% of the people.
Within 4 hours?
Yes,
That's so scary.
I know.
But the good news is that we're not destined to get sick. What are the factors at play when we are exposed to these viruses?
So the same study calculated that if you had the virus on your hands, you'd have a 30% chance of becoming infected or symptomatic. So the main three factors affecting that are going to be your overall health, like sleep, exercise, nutrition, your immunity. If you've been exposed to the virus before, you're probably not going to get it. And what's the third one?
How much of it you've been exposed to, perhaps?
The dose. Thank you.
The dose. Okay, great. Now, these pathogens have different survival lengths, correct? Yes. Just inherently. Yes. What is the range? So
it's like seconds to months. Wow. On average, a lot of your typical common cold, influenza, that's going to be 2 to 4 hours. Something like the norovirus, which is a gastrointestinal virus that you hear about on cruise ships, that can be up to 30 days. So,
oh, wow. But yeah. What I find so fascinating is the material that the virus is on also affects the length that it survives. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so environment is a huge factor, both temperature, humidity, as well as material. Like you said, something that's synthetic is going to be less protective than something that's not, like cotton.
So wear cotton, not polyester all winter.
Certain metals are protective, particularly copper, and there's been studies looking at that in hospitals where this is such a big problem.
Interesting. So if we wore copper armor, we'd probably be protected all winter.
And then like plasta and formica, like all those things, like those kids' toys with the little grooves and edges, that's bad.
Those are bad. That's I find that so fascinating. And so what are your tips? Do we douse ourselves in hand sanitizer, or does that not really work?
I mean, everyone has their own tips. Like I talk to people who are like, oh, I always carry my own pen, or I knuckle the elevator buttons, particularly one, because that's the most touched button.
Knuckle the buttons, that's good. And open the doors with your elbow, right?
But the bottom line is you don't want to go overboard. You don't want to be using the sanitizer all the time because there's good bacteria that we need that helps protect us from the bad bacteria. So there are experts who say just hand washing. That's the most effective way. If it's influenza season, if you're really sort of nervous about getting sick, maybe avoid the handshakes.
And sleeping well and eating well to keep our immune system
general
healthy.
Health things are
all right. Sumathi, thank you so much for that. Scary stuff.